It's finally here, the narrow wheel set from Broadbeck Ironworks. These three wheels are absolute game changers. Whether it's the knife edge wheel that was originally designed to mimic a file that allows you to embellish any project in a matter of seconds, or maybe it's the more rounded wheel that's designed to make flawless fullers. Now you have a line of sight to directly line up those fullers exactly where you want, and the terminations are flawless. All of these wheels are designed to help you do the work you're already doing, but just do it much faster. And with the offset mounting bracket from Broadbeck, tracking is right on point. All of these Broadbeck wheels are exactly the same size, so no more hassle of having to deal with different size wheels in the middle of a project, having to adjust the arm and change the tension, and that'll allow you to get nice projects done faster. These wheels will take your grinding game to the next level, and if they didn't, I wouldn't put my name on it.
Alright, well that little 1-minute video basically says it all, but in typical me fashion, I'm going to take about 10 minutes to further explain what's going on. So for years you guys have been asking for these little wheels. You've seen me use them all the way back since Man-at-Arms, and definitely in just about every video that we've made since on our channel here at That Works, and now they're here. I teamed up with Broadbeck Ironworks about 2 years ago to start designing these. Up until this point, pretty much all the wheels that I've used and all the systems and arms and all the different things were kind of just hodgepodge together to do a job, and I never really thought too much about the engineering. But that's the nice thing about the guys at Broadbeck, is they are indeed engineers, so they've gone through and figured out a system where the wheel can raise and lower. They got a much nicer looking offset. It's really important with these wheels to have them offset off of your main arm so that the tracking is right in the center. They got all that figured out. We got the durometer of the rubber figured out, which I thought would be pretty easy, but it actually took us 2 or 3 tries to get the exact right rubber. Not too hard. You want it to be able to kind of squish into things, but you don't want it so soft that, say on the narrow wheel that's super peaked, for that peak to roll over, which would throw your belts over and over and give you a sloppy indentation. So here we are. 2 years later, we got this thing. It's $350 for the total package. You get a rounded wheel. It's nice and rounded. I like to use that for fullers. You end up using it a lot more than you think on all kinds of different stuff, integral bolsters, all kinds of stuff like that. Then you get a very peaked wheel, which I've always called the knife edge wheel. And that allows you to make very nice, I also use it for fullers. If you're going to do like stacked fullers, sometimes I'll do a combination of the rounded wheel with the narrow wheel to stack the fullers along the spine of a saber or a cutlass or something like that. But that wheel is like, that's kind of the wheel that started it all. And then you get a flat wheel. That's just a generic flat wheel. All of these wheels are half inch wide, and they're all the same diameter. The reason that we decided to do that is I've always had different size wheels. It's always been a pain to like have to swap them out, and then you have to swap the belt tension and move your arm in and out and do all that, and in between processes, that just adds time. So having them all the same size wheel, when you're swapping these wheels in and out, you don't have to mess with the tension. It's all right there. You can just continuously go in whatever it is that you're doing, saving you time. Right now, this is the only wheel size option. I believe in the future we will definitely add some smaller wheels, because I've done some pretty cool stuff with smaller wheels. If you're trying to do curved grooves or curved fullers, you can really get in and do more tight radius stuff with smaller wheels. That's pretty obvious. So we'll be adding to that. But initially you get those 3 wheels. You get the arm that has the offset. It also has an adjustable bracket, so you can put this wheel wherever you need it. You can adjust like almost all the way down to here and like almost all the way up to here, if wherever you're comfortable with working. This is about, I keep it pretty flat, but however you're comfortable is the way to do it. You get that, and then you get a bunch of these 1/2 inch belts from Red Label Abrasives. And with that, you get 80 grits, 120 grits, and 320 grits. You burn through more 320s than you do anything. Obviously, it's finer grit. I use the 320s more often than not on most processes when I'm doing that file work on the spine. That way I don't have to go in and clean up, so every time you retrace your lines, you're getting them all a little thicker. So when I do like the file work, I just use a 320 on that narrow wheel, and from there you can take it to a Scotch-Brite and buff it, or just buff it, or darken it down, or whatever you want. But I burned through more 320s, so in that package you get a few more 320s than you do any of the other grits. You can get those belts from Broadbeck. I believe you can also just get them from Red Label if you're really burning through them and you need a ton of one grit. But yeah, that's the package, and it's only $350. So you get 3 wheels, the arm, and belts, all for $350. Honestly, I'm not sure that price is going to stay forever. So if you want to get it at that price, you should go ahead and get it, because I think that's a hell of a steal. Literally, for me, I'm used to using these. I can make that $350 back in a day just doing file work on the spines of, like, say, a whole batch of knives. So, you know, for just about, even if you haven't had any experience with them, you can make that money back 2 days tops. If you're adding fullers to your sword blades or your knife blades, each fuller should cost, you know, $50. That was the old upgrade at Ball and Knife and Sword, $50 for a fullered piece. So $50 added to your knife or your sword, and you know how many swords and knives you got to do. 3, 4, 5, 6, you're done. So highly recommend getting this from Broadbeck. I've had some people reach out to me, why didn't I just do this myself? Let me tell you, I tried for a while. To source out someone that would make these contact wheels, and then it just became, oh yeah, well, if I do the contact wheels, then I have to do an arm for each kind of grinder, because that has to have that offset, or people are going to be really upset with them throwing off. And then it was like, okay, well, maybe I could do this for buddies. But for the general public, the best way to go was with Broadbeck Ironworks, who, like I said, are engineers, are friends of mine. Vince lives 20 minutes down the road from here. So I've been able to meet with those guys and talk to them and get this product exactly how we want. And I've been using Broadbeck grinders now for, 5 years. So that was the obvious choice, was to let those guys who have all those contacts take care of the stuff that I really don't want to. I just got the hands-on ability to design the wheels. I sculpted them from just the square to give them the shape that they needed, and then they had those produced. And I just really hope that most people out there making stuff, whether it's woodwork, knife work, metal work, blacksmithing, I don't care what you do. If you're a craftsman, you have a 2x72, whatever brand it is, you should get these. You really should. And I've already seen guys who got these packages and retrofitted them to other grinders that weren't Broadbecks. It's really not that difficult. All you really need to know is what size arm you have, and you can figure out how to do it. You really can just make a plate for whatever system you're running, and boom, you're up with these narrow wheels, and they'll change your life. Like I said, I don't think for most people, I don't think these wheels will have you doing work, well, like improve your craftsmanship kind of thing, like do something that you couldn't do before, except maybe curved fullers. But for like the file work and stuff, it's just going to allow you to do stuff much, much faster. And if you want to do like high-grade mastersmith level work, yeah, you should still go back in and hand sand, or go back in and file some things, but you can really get rid of a lot of material, save yourself a ton of time. And I'm just excited to see what everyone out there does with these. I know what I do. I do just about everything. I do fullers, I facet pommels, I flute wooden handles, I do all kinds of weld blends on, say, complex hilts like rapiers or daggers. You can just, there's no need to have flat boring surfaces anymore. You can just go crazy with these. Also, like just in fabrication and stuff, when you need to blend a certain weld, having this wheel out here that you can get into like tight spaces, you can really blend a lot. So just for general fabrication, even if you're not, say, an artiste, these are very, very nice to have. In the past, the only way you'd really be able to do stuff like that is, say, like a handheld sander. So for me, I like to move the work to the tool instead of moving the tool to the work. If you like to move the tool to the work, use your handheld, but in general, I think these are just the way to go. And you know, I know a lot of people do the file work on the spines of knives with, say, like a die grinder or air tool. The thing about that is you're using a burr that leaves a very rough surface. This leaves a very fine surface, and your rotary tool is spinning this way when you're digging out those grooves, right? So you're not creating the same tool marks that you would if you were filing. You're creating a different look, so it kind of, to people who collect high-end knives, they're going to know that you used an air tool. This, since you're working it this way, it's the same as using a file, so all of those tool marks are all where they should be if you were doing it by hand. And I just think in general this is a much more organic and much more easy way to do fanciful grinds, if you will. And I just hope everybody takes the opportunity to get these at that $350 package price. Like I said, you guys have bugged me for years. There's so much to do. Obviously, if you look behind me, there's not much left here at this shop because I am moving workshops currently, so I haven't had time to do a bunch of videos, but my plan is to do breakdown, dedicated, your edge style videos for all the different stuff that you can use for these. Like I said, I'll do one for fluting a wood handle. I'll do some for fastening pommels. I'll show that file work. I'll show fullering, curved fullers, stacked fullers. We'll do all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you how really great these are. And kind of like that promo, I wouldn't put my name on it if I didn't believe in it. So go out and get these. Don't wait. Get yourself. I've had metal sculptors that have nothing to do with knife making get these. My friend Carl, who does amazing sculptural work, he got himself one, retrofitted it to his grinder, and he's already making little bat wings and all kinds of crazy cool stuff with it. So whatever it is you do, these will up your game. And there's going to be much more to come. Stay with me. And we got some really banger videos coming out on the main channel, so make sure you go check those out in the next week. We got a couple big builds again. Like I said, I'm moving workshops. I'm excited to show you that workspace. It's gonna be cool. Got a lot of work, you know, coming here at the end of the summer. We got some projects that I can't yet talk about. So just excited to have these finally out. Have Broadbeck Ironworks partnered up with me to make them and get those shipped to you. And yeah, let's do this. If you want to see a little more on these wheels, check out this video on the main channel right here.